What is happening, and welcome to another four-wheel drive talk episode. And friends, today is going to be a very exciting day. Reason why I dropped some stuff on the floor. Reason being is we're going to be talking about compressors. And if you get off trail much, you know how important it is to be able to have a reliable compressor for airing down, airing up, and all that other good stuff in between. Now, many of you may know, over the last handful of years, I've been a diehard. This is my Viair 440 Papa. I absolutely stinking love this compressor. This thing is a champ. This little thing right here can fill up my tires. Now, if I'm at 10 PSI, I can fill them up to 40 in about 20-25 minutes. If I have my turtleback trailer with me and I have those two additional, now those are 33s versus the 37s that are on my Gladiator. So the additional two 33s usually pushes me right around close to about 35 minutes. This has been an absolute rock star, but is the grass greener? Is there a possible new sheriff in town? Many of you have been questioning about this sucker right here. This is the MORRFlate TenSix portable off-road beast of a green compressor. Now, we've been hearing quite a bit of noise on this thing here, and it's funny because one of my buddies went out and picked up this thing, and then he would not, I'm just dropping stuff all over the place here. He went on to share with me what I knew about it and shared with him just a lot of questions from many of you. So from there, I decided to jump on the horn with these guys and find out what was the secret sauce behind this compressor here. One thing led to another. Found out these guys, they're right up in Sacramento. I used to call that home a number of years back. But at any rate, after speaking with the founders of this company, one thing led to another. They sent this down for me to play around with, and that's exactly what we're going to do here. Now, does this have the chops to compete against what has worked so well for me over the last couple of years? We're going to find out. And at the end of this video, we're going to show you a scorecard rating this compressor on a number of things. We have power, size and portability, noise level, durability, ease of use, and of course, the 900-pound gorilla in the room is price. Now, each of these categories is going to be based upon 5 points, giving a perfect score of 30. But before we go diving into all that fun there, look, we put these videos together to help you make more educated decisions on particular items that you may be interested in picking up. In this case, it happens to be a compressor. Now, of course, if you find some value with these videos, friend, look, we sure would appreciate you doing us a huge favor, crushing the heck out of the like button down below. It really does help with the whole YouTube algorithm. That said, my friends, pull up a seat and, hey, come on, it's time. Let's go. All right, before we get to the specs and features, friends, I'm going to try to blast through the front half of this here pretty quickly here. Reason being is, look, I've had this thing for 2 weeks, 2 long, agonizing weeks. And I say that because when I'm listening to some of the feedback that you folks have been sharing with us about this compressor, boy, I'm excited to get out there and test to see whether or not it is the real deal or just a bunch of... And that's what I'm really curious. Is it something that's going to live up to expectations, the demanding expectations? Because here's the thing, my opinion with compressors, this is another one of those items that you don't want to skimp out on. If you're out on the trail, you're aired down, you need to air back up. If your compressor fails, that is not a good thing. And so, again, we've heard quite a bit of very positive news on this thing. I'm really curious whether or not it's going to live up to expectations. But anyways, where I was leading with this, I've had this thing for the last 2 weeks, 2 agonizing weeks, because I can't wait to get outside. But it's been raining out, and my cameras, they don't like rain, so which keeps me within a product like this indoors. But it looks like hell outside, but I think we may have enough time to get out there, hammer out this portion of the video, get out there, play around with it, and just see first impressions what this thing is capable of doing. That said, let's dive into some of the specs and features. Now, starting off, obviously, as you can see here, you have a dual cylinder compressor. Now, this thing is able to put out 10.6 CFM at 0 PSI and 6.5 CFM at 30 PSI. Now, the PSI cutoff switch is at 120 PSI, although the unit is actually rated up to 150 PSI. Now, as I understand, you can air up 4 35-inch tires from 12 PSI to 30 PSI in less than 5 minutes. And I'm pausing because I can't, that is absolutely crazy. Now, that is in conjunction with their Mega Quad kit, which is basically the hose system that they have for this. Now, you have 50% duty cycle, 20 minutes on, 10 minutes off. You have 12 volt, 90 amp peak power, 50 amps running. You have threaded filter caps, which allows you to mount the compressor in pretty much any direction or orientation that you want. Now, this thing is small, so as you can see here, this is 14 inches, 7 inches by 9 inches, so it's perfect for off-roading and overlanding applications where, let's be real here, your number one commodity is space. Now, this comes with a variety of accessories, including a 6-foot compressor hose, a 6-foot electrical cord with high amperage alligator clips, and thick carrying bag with pockets to hold accessories or pretty much whatever you want to stuff in that thing. Now, the Mega Quad kit, again, this is the hose side of things here, is going to allow you to inflate, deflate, and equalize air pressure in up to 6 tires simultaneously. That just blows my mind. That's going to be pretty stinking awesome. Now, the Mega Quad kit, which is incidentally is down in my garage right now, allows you to check each tire's PSI from one location. So you can actually move air from tire to tire as well. Now, you can run different PSI in front and rear tires as well. Now, it's also worth pointing out that since most valve stems are rated for 2 CFM or less, typical or traditional compressors simply waste their extra output. So, for example, if you have a compressor that's rated for 5 CFM, but your valve stem only takes 2 CFM, that's 3 CFM that's going nowhere. Like, for example, my Via right here, this is a C, a 3 CFM, so technically 1 PSI or 1 CFM is basically going out into the abyss someplace. But because the TenSix divides its output to 4 to 6 tires, you can actually take advantage of its usable airflow to get the job done quickly and efficiently, which is very intriguing. Now that we've got some of the basic specs and features out of the way, let's get outside before it starts raining and see how this bad boy performs. All right, here we are out in a nice, dry, no clouds in the sky day. I accidentally left one of my mics home for my Canon R5, and so we're going to be depending upon the GoPro Hero 11 mic here, and that just means I'm going to carry you around with me while we also have that Hero over there, that's a 10, and then of course the R5 there. So we're going to get a lot of different footage or different angles here. Now, at the end of this video here, we're going to have a scorecard. So admittedly, I have watched some videos on this thing, so I do have a little bit of an understanding of how this thing is supposed to operate. I did not look at the instructions. Actually, I don't even know if there was some inside there. But the reason why I'm sharing this with you, because one of the items on the scorecard that we're going to be looking at here is ease of use. How intuitive, out of the box, is this thing to operate? Well, we're going to find out here momentarily. So in a minute, what I'm going to do is, well, on the screen here, we'll put a timer on here so we can, because you're supposed to be able to deflate tires as well. So I'm going to deflate the tires down to 10 PSI, and then what we're going to do is we're going to let the real fun start. So from 10 PSI up to, let's say, 35 PSI. We're going to see how long it takes to get those tires up there. Now again, these are 37s. These are Patagonia 2 MTs. So these are some pretty decent sized tires. Now I know many of you have bigger tires on your vehicle. Some of you may have 35s or 33s, but we're going to use this as a gauge here. Now they say you can move, I think it was 12 PSI to 30 PSI, 35-inch tires. If I'm wrong about the size there, I'll put it on the screen here. But you're supposed to be able to do that in 5 minutes. We're going to find out what's going to take here. Now, also, what I did bring here with me, we have a sound meter. So we're going to take a listen of how loud this is from close by. We're going to step back to 5 feet, and then we'll probably, and I'm just eyeballing this, we'll probably go back about this yay far away. Then last but not least, one of the things that, again, while I absolutely love my Wire compressor, one of the downsides with that thing, it gets stinking very hot. And that's what we're going to be, I brought a little temperature meter here, and I'm curious of what the temps are going to do with this thing blowing up these tires. That said, let's get on to all the fun. Okay, so far what I can tell you, this has been maybe, I don't have the timer in front of me, so I have no means of knowing out here, but this is going along pretty darn fast. It really, from an E standpoint, this is really looking good so far. So as we can see, all 4 tires are airing down. We're already down to 15 PSI. 5 more PSI to go, but I'm really liking this so far. Now the big question here is, okay, they're airing down pretty darn fast. It's in one location, because before with the Wire, now I have those little valve stem things that you can put on there, but I can never get it set properly to where I want it. And then on top of that, the downside to, let's see if I have these up here. Okay. I'll put them on the page here, what I'm referring to. The downside to these is there's no set. So if you're going to different locations from sand to mud or this or that, you may want to set your tire pressure differently. So for me, that's kind of a pain in the ass. You have to fidget around with them. And so usually what I will do is I'll have the truck running and I'll look in there at the sensor, what the sensor is telling the truck, which is a time-consuming process. This, come up here, pop this little fitting out, boom. We're 11.7 on all 4 tires. Again, I'm absolutely digging the simplicity of this so far. All right, we went down a little bit further than I expected. So we are at 9 pounds or 9 PSI in each one of these tires here. So now it is the magical time now to get this compressor fired up and see first of how loud it is, how quick it's going to do. So pull up a seat and let's get the timer going, starting right now. Okay. Yep, there we go. Okay, now one thing I noticed here, which they did give gloves, this is pretty hot right here, which there's a, let's take a, yeah, so this is a 170, well, this fitting right here is 171 degrees, but they did give a set of gloves, which I do have in here. That time, okay, so we're over 200 degrees here, which is still pretty reasonable. Now, that was blazing fast. Holy smokes. I'm out in the field, I didn't have a timer going. That is darn quick. I am absolutely floored. Now, I told you my Viair, that my 440P, that thing, you know, again, it took me probably closer to 30 minutes to fill up all 6 tires, including on my trailer, maybe 35 minutes. If this was 5-7 minutes, you know, again, I don't know what it is, but boy, that was so darn fast. That said, friends, holy smokes, let's take a look at the scorecard. All right, friends, and well, as you probably noticed, I'm not wearing what you saw me wear a moment ago there. It actually took 2 separate attempts of getting outdoors and be able to test this thing out. I gotta love, you know, look, I'm happy we got a ton of rain here because, as I understand, the state now is we're officially out of our drought, which is really awesome. It's too bad that the mountains and a lot of the trails that we head up to are closed for a while because there's so much snow, but we needed the rain. But what about the scorecard for this thing? Again, I'm absolutely floored. You know, look, 6 minutes, 33 seconds to deflate all 4 of my tires from 42 down to 9 PSI. 7 minutes, 46 seconds to inflate. I had to refer to my notes here. 7 minutes, 46 seconds to inflate from 9 PSI up to 41. This thing is, you know, I'm pausing because I'm absolutely floored with this thing. You know, in the beginning of the video, I think, boy, you know what? It's been a few days since we shot that. Did I mention? Either way, we're going to be doing having a 2-year review coming up on the Viair 440 Papa. But man, as much as I love that compressor, this thing just crushes it out of the park. Again, when I get up to trailheads or leaving trailheads and I'm airing back up, especially where was it? Glamis, which was hands down. We were on and off the trail quite frequently, and you know, while we never really inflated our tires all the way back up because it just takes forever. Boy, something like this would allow, had I had something like this at the time, this thing will allow you to at least get it to more decent air pressure in minutes compared to, again, when you're airing up and down, or I'm sorry, airing back up with something like my 440, which again was a workhorse. That thing just absolutely never failed, but 25-30 minutes compared to 7 minutes and change. I mean, come on. And that is officially all I have here for you. But before we go diving off, I gotta thank you very much for taking time out of your busy schedule to watch and support this channel. YouTube is full of an endless supply. Well, I'm sure there's an end someplace, but it would seem that it would keep you busy for a very long time. A lot of videos that could be grabbing your attention, and we appreciate you giving a little bit of your time over to us. But we hope we provided some value and some insight, perhaps some perspective on what you may have in your recovery, your air compressor kit that you have in your rig, or if you don't have one. Hopefully this provides some insight and some good intel for you for moving forward. But it's that time of the video where I'm going to ask you to do all that YouTube stuff because we really do appreciate it. So if you would consider hitting that like button, the subscribe button, because we would love to see you again. And last but not least, crush all notifications, because every time we come out with a new video, then YouTube is going to send you notice and we get to see you again, which I technically just said that a minute ago. But anyway, you know where I'm leading with that. But at any rate, that is that. So anyways, thanks again. Looking forward to seeing you next time. But I'm going to be shutting off the camera so you get out there, stay healthy, and find your adventure.